What's up, you guys? Sorry we're late, but we're here nonetheless. This is Timeout with uSTADIUM. I am your host, Brianna, as always with Nick and Frankie. We got a loaded show today, probably like 5 topics I just wrote down. So bear with us. We might talk a lot, but we're going to try not to. Before I get into it, obviously like and follow, subscribe, all of that good stuff. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram for the latest updates, and download the uSTADIUM app. I hear we have a new update, you guys. So things might be looking pretty good over there. All right, so
things are looking good over here. I have I don't have a transparent cup tonight for a reason, everyone. Just letting everyone know that.
Goodness.
What's in there, Frank?
Some good, like I call it, Had a rough work day, but hey, I'm here.
I think everybody's getting everybody on this show, at least with Italy. I know we're not a soccer, we're a different football show around here, but our boys are looking pretty good. So
they're looking real.
A little celebration yesterday around this time, so excited for that.
Yep, they were coming into this kind of the dark horse, I guess you could say. Maybe a little bit slept on. They're looking pretty good.
A change of philosophy, and I think they were a little embarrassed with what the papers and news outlets were saying about them after missing out on the World Cup and missing a qualify a few years ago, and they look like they're ready to roll. So
yep, they do.
Excited for that.
We'll provide updates on Italian soccer as they come, because you got 3 paisans here. So, all right, Nick. So we have a little bit of Jets news you want to kind of dive in on, or maybe not news, but.
Yeah, no, so it is a little bit of an update based on earlier today. Jeremy Fowler came out with a report saying that the Jets are seemingly close to a deal with Morgan Moses, a multi-year deal. And, I checked in with a source, the same source who told me a few days ago or about a week ago that the Jets were very serious about Moses and really wanted to get him on board and felt good about their chances to land him. And he updated me today, basically confirming what Jeremy said. I'm going to check the exact quote here. It looks like a multi-year deal, about $6 to $9 million range. So nothing confirmed that it's done yet. I'm sure they feel good about it. Maybe today or tomorrow something gets done, but it looks like Moses will come in and continue to stack the Jets offensive line, which, as you see here, Joe Douglas saying that, obviously he's an offensive line guy, drafting Becton, drafting Vera Tucker, signing Connor McGovern, who was up and down last year. I think they feel a little bit better about him this year, playing center in a different system. And now adding Morgan Moses to basically I don't know if they're going to kick. I asked him, basically, he's not going to know much about what they're going to do with George Fant. But at worst, he'll be basically a swing tackle or provide extra depth. Becton is dealing with a foot issue. So, it does just give you, Vera Tucker played a little left tackle at USC. Fant played some left tackle. You have Moses who can anchor and play right tackle. So it does look like a multi-year deal. I'm guessing the Jets had to maybe go another year or so to, I guess, compete with the other teams who were there. And it looks like it's going to get done. And like I said, between 6 and 9 million annual for Morgan Moses to come to the Jets. So it looks like that deal is closer probably than everybody does think. And hopefully by the end of the night and tomorrow, he'll be a Jet.
Interesting. Frankie,
I love Joe Douglas. I'm a huge Joe Douglas fan. I think all the moves that he's made since he's come in has just been right, in my opinion. I mean, he's all about building a team the way it's supposed to be built, I think. And thinking about the offensive line, thinking about the way he's stacking up our defense this offseason, spending money at the right positions, getting a guy like Carl Lawson. I mean, Joe Douglas is a really, really good GM. Mm-hmm. Now, does that mean the Jets are going to be a really, really good team? We'll see. But this guy hasn't made a head-scratching move like we've seen with McCagnon and Idzik. I mean, we've had some terrible GMs. We just have, especially recently. And to see him come in has just been a breath of fresh air for Jet fans. So
yeah, Frank, he was on, and I'll send you. I don't know if you saw it. He was on with Chris Long, who he has a great relationship with, the Long family, obviously. And it was a really cool interview. You usually see like Douglas is like, buttoned up and very, straight to the point. Kind of dances around, just playing GM speak, but he kind of opened up with him. And he said, like, they asked him, what are the positions that you're really comfortable with basically identifying and scouting? And he said he feels really good about the offensive line and the defensive line and where he where I guess he struggles, or he said if he has a weakness is the receiver and cornerback position. So it was actually a really cool interview, and I'll send it to you, Frank, because he talked about a lot of things that we talk about, defensive linemen and offensive linemen when you're, watching tape or grading guys out. And it made me think back to what we spoke about, and it was really interesting. So Douglas was on Chris Long's podcast, and it was not surprising that he goes out and he lands Morgan Moses, or close to landing Morgan Moses, to add to the offensive line. So I agree with you. I wanted to stay and say, all right, prove it to me. I didn't want to jump the gun on this guy and be like a rah-rah Jet fan and just say this guy's awesome. But, move by move, you're starting to see basically a plan here that's actually coming to fruition, as opposed to let's just try and grab highlights or the headlines in New York City and compete, in the media with the Giants and other teams. Douglas is doing it the boring but the right way. So definitely credit to him and what they're building over there. We'll see what it amounts to on the field, in the future. But I think, like you said, there is a plan and they're doing it the right way.
Sometimes the boring and the right way is the way to do it. I mean, you look at what Belichick has done, and it really hasn't up until this year, it hasn't really been all that flashy. Sometimes that's the way you got to do it,
That's right.
All
Belichick,
right.
by the way, right now is the 4th best GM in that division. Just throwing that out there.
Oh my God.
There's 3 better ones.
What?
I don't think it's a crazy statement. I think Greer is a good GM. I think obviously the Bills, what they're doing is Brandon Beane. I think Douglas, you're excited about. Obviously, Belichick's got the track record. He's by far the best coach in the division. But I don't think the GM statement isn't crazy.
Yeah.
Yikes. Okay. Well, we're just going to skip over that one because we got too much to talk about. If we didn't have 5 topics, I would hammer that one home. But we got a lot going on. So top 10 wide receivers. Did we drop that today?
We're dropping it.
All right.
It's dropping. This was the most argued thing in maybe uSTADIUM's history, was this list. We were fighting about everything on this freaking list. I think the list is great. I just do. I think it's pretty damn good. There were some things I would have changed, but I mean, I just think it's a very well done list. I think you look at the best wide receiver in the NFL is Davante Adams. He just is. I wanted to put DeAndre there, but the year Davante had, PFF had him ranked as a top receiver last year as well. He's amazing. Touchdown numbers are unprecedented, so you have to put him up there. DeAndre lost a little bit of a step, it seemed, just a little bit. He's getting up there. He's taking some hits. Davante, when healthy, I think is the best. But yeah, I mean, we'll keep we'll argue through this right now. But the one thing I'd say is, from my perspective, I'm in the minority here, but I've seen so much DK Metcalf hate for over the last year or so. DK Metcalf, I'm just letting people know, he will be no doubt. Remember, I said this. We're gonna save this. No doubt about it. DK Metcalf will be a top 5 wide receiver, easy money top 5 wide receiver over the next year or so. We won't even debate it. He might be the second best wide receiver, or first. He'll be in that Adams, Hopkins, Julio trio that we've seen when AB was there and Thomas. DK Metcalf is going to get there. I know people don't like his hands all that much. Whatever. He's such a beast. Do you remember that play he had last year where he went across the field and went up the sideline? He's so fast. He's so agile. He's so big. Corner, he can't be single covered. So DK Metcalf, I wanted to put a little bit higher. But for people that don't think he's in the top 10, DK Metcalf's, trust me, remember I said this. Next year, you're going to be talking about him definitely being top 5, maybe the best receiver in football. Just throwing that out there.
So I
agree.
I agree with the list. I just kind of would rearrange it a little bit. But all the names on there are who I would put on there. Just the seating might be a little off. So if we could pull that back up, and I'll just kind of run through the changes I would make.
Where's Julio on yours, Bree?
5.
Okay. He's off
5.
mine, by the way.
Yeah, I have him at 5. And the only reason I have him at 5 is because I think he was just so done with Atlanta. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt there, while also thinking this year might be kind of a nice resurgence year to bring him back in the top 3. But with that being said,
wait, Nick said Julio's off his top 10.
Off of my top 10 heading into 2021.
Oh no, I heard him.
Go ahead, Bree. Where was your reshuffle?
Okay, I would put.
I think this is going to lead into something.
I would put DeAndre 1, Davante 2, I would put Tyreek 3, Michael Thomas 4, Julio 5, Stephon Diggs 6. Let's see. What am I at? 7? I'd move Robinson up 1, DK down 1, and DK down 2 and move Calvin Ridley up. So DK would be my number 9. Keenan Allen, I like where he is. I think that's a good spot.
All right. I agree with some of the movement at the bottom. I'm going to go, and this isn't planned to be your planted Skip Bayless, like, what do they call them? Like shock jocks or to start a debate. I truly believe this about Julio Jones. I think he's been overrated his entire career. I think he's great. I think he's been a great receiver. Frank, remember during the draft process, I was obsessed with Julio Jones. To me, you cannot play in this era of football, play in a team that throws the ball around the yard with no regard, like the Atlanta Falcons, in a dome, in a division where the secondaries and the defenses have been suspect at best over the past 10 years, and have a single season with just 10 touchdowns, just one, and it was 10. There are receivers like Eric Decker, Adam Thielen, who have multiple 10 or more touchdown seasons. You can't tell me. We had this huge debate with Splash, who's going to come on and try and prove his point here, that he's on his Mount Rushmore of wide receivers of all time, which I think is outlandish. I think right now he's not even the best receiver on his team. I think, and there's 2 guys missing, or there's 1 guy missing. I have A.J. Brown in my top 10, by the way, so wrong Titans receiver on the top 10. And there's a guy missing completely who's in my top 6. He's 6 is Justin Jefferson heading into 2021. I think this guy is about to take the league by storm. I think he's that good. And you saw it last year with a decent quarterback. Obviously, he's got Thielen next to him, so there's some pressure that you alleviate there. But I think Justin Jefferson is your next, like, Odell Beckham with his head on straight. So to me, it's Adams, Hopkins, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Michael Thomas, Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf, Allen Robinson, A.J. Brown, Calvin Ridley. And then there's a few guys there. The Julio's obviously come into play, Keenan Allen. There's a few guys who I'm higher on than a lot of other people are. We can talk about this all day. But to me, you can't go into 2021. You're putting Julio now, and I get the whole like refreshing, I'm on a new team. It's a new Julio, new year, new me kind of thing for him. You're going to an offense that is run first. They want to run their offense through Derrick Henry. So you're not going to get those pass opportunities that you got inside of a dome in Atlanta and throw the ball, chuck and duck to Julio Jones like Matt Ryan did in games. And to me, Julio Jones, I think he's played in the league for 10 or 11 years, has only played 16 games 3 times or 4 times. I forget what the number was. He is in and out of the lineup. I know some years it was only 1 game or 2 games, but he's missed a lot of games. He's had 1 season with 10 or more touchdowns. And in today's football, I think that's crazy. You're talking about Antonio Brown in that era, who is much better than Julio Jones, in my opinion. Adams, to me, is the best receiver in football. Hopkins in this era right now. I think with the new offense that Hopkins had to pick up last year in a COVID year, he was a little bit sluggish. He wasn't himself. I think this year he'll be a lot better. I think, the Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, you have those guys grouped up, who is a toss up between Julio Jones for me too. So I would put Julio closer to 15 than 5.
Interesting.
That's insanity to me. You guys don't understand Julio Jones, his route running, his big play ability. He's not a great red zone threat. It's also because they haven't used him much in the red zone over the years. They were very run dependent in the red zone. The Falcons like to use their tight ends. Julio, remember when he carried that Falcons offense into the playoffs? They should have won a Super Bowl. The Patriots got lucky yet again.
But they didn't.
Common theme there. That's the luck's over though, Bree. So I'm just glad that the luck ran out. It's like with the Celtics, the luck's over.
20 years of luck is wild. If I had 20 years of luck in my life, who knows where I'd be right now, right?
Yeah,
I take 2 years of sports luck.
But Nick, why was Julio last year 5th on PFF's list? The guy's resume is incredible. You take his numbers. He's never caused issues too. He's never been really a diva wide receiver. He's been a stand-up kind of guy. He's kind of quiet set. I don't know. I just think when you look at Julio, there's a stat here. He turned 35% of his targets into a 15+ yard gain. I mean, that's incredible stuff, man. He makes, and you look and you listen to corners talk about him. He's virtually unstoppable one-on-one.
Sure. Yeah. And I agree. And
how many receivers can you really say that for? Honestly.
Yeah, he's one of the. Is he better than Marvin Harrison? I don't think so. Torrey Holt, maybe. I think
he's
that's
better than Torrey
closer
Holt,
to.
Nick.
I don't know. I mean, same offensive indoors
Nick.
too, explosive offense. I know the Rams are one of the best offenses of all time. I don't know if he's much better than Torrey Holt. I think it's definitely worth the conversation. I don't think he's better than Antonio Brown in his prime. So there's guys like the Larry Fitzgerald conversation is one to have. I would slightly lean to Julio probably over Larry Fitzgerald. But to me, I always felt that touchdown thing bothered me. I don't know why. And I know it's a weird thing, but you look at some guys obviously I don't want to talk about Jerry Rice or Randy Moss, but they're putting up 16, 18, a 20 touchdown season. He's got one and it was 10. A guy that dominant, that big, that physical, that big of a freak, you got to at least put up a few years. It's not like he's played 4 or 5 years in the league. He's been here for over a decade. And in the passing era, you can receivers can do all they want. You can't play defense on these guys anymore. You got to have some double-digit touchdown years. And I don't think he's going to go into Tennessee and be the Julio of old in Atlanta. He's getting older. He's got a better receiver, in my opinion, right now in A.J. Brown. So, and Tannehill is not really that, gunslinging guy that Matt Ryan was inside of the dome. They're playing outdoors and they want to run it. So I don't think I don't think this is a year where Julio's going to get 10 touchdowns either. So that stat is always going to bother me about Julio Jones.
The only reason why I think Julio might have a better year this year in Tennessee than people kind of expect is because Tennessee, you have Derrick Henry, obviously, and that's kind of the defense's first point of attack. What is this behemoth of a man going to do? What are we going to do to stop him? So you have that. The focus is going to be on that. Then you have A.J. Brown, which is going to take away. Because now if Tannehill's not going to Julio, he's going to go to A.J. Brown. If he's not going to A.J. Brown, he's going to go to Julio. And you're screwed either way. So I think I agree with you. I don't think he's going to go back to being, the best receiver in the league.
1,700 yards, yeah.
But I think it's going to be a hell of a lot better than his last year or two in Atlanta. Because I'm sorry, Matt Ryan, Boston College guy, God, I love him. Gifted us a Super Bowl win, whatever. Great guy. He's not good. He's not good.
Not anymore. I mean, he's lost his fastball. Julio said it through sources that, that's the main reason why he wanted on there was that that Tannehill can't throw the deep ball anymore. And maybe that did affect Julio's season last year or the year before. Julio missed a lot of games again last year. And like the comment said, injuries, lack of touchdown production is the reason why Julio's not on this list for me.
There is one thing with Julio Jones, however. NFL all-time history, Julio Jones is number 1 in yards per game in NFL history at 95.5 yards per game. Do you know who's second is Calvin at 86.1 yards per game. So 95.5 yards per game is one all-time. Second is not like 93 or 92. It's 86.1 from Calvin. So when Julio suits up, he's going to get you yards. So and he's the best ever at doing that. And the numbers aren't even close. But with that being said, we had these arguments going on in-house. People wanted Julio out of the top 10.
Me.
Splash wanted freaking Tyreek Hill number 1 on the list.
No.
So Splash is
honestly, I'm kind of close to that Splash. I think that guy is the ultimate game breaker.
Nick, you just love those little small, fast wide receivers.
Bring Splash in. I'm agreeing with Splash. I think for the first
Nick's
time
the Tavon Austin, Jalen Waddle.
The thing is that he plays in
here.
perfectly with Mahomes. You cannot ever feel good about being up 7 or 10 on the Chiefs because you blink your eye and Tyreek Hill's burning your safety and he's scoring.
But that's my biggest
on the goalpost.
That's my biggest point about this Chiefs team is what are they going to do when it all falls apart because not everybody can get paid and people go elsewhere.
They did a good job of that this year, and they brought in 3 new linemen.
Yeah, but Kelsey's going to command a shit ton of money. It's going to be within the next few years, it's going to happen where they can't pay everybody. Somebody's going to end up elsewhere, and you're going to see that they were a product of of the environment more so than just their talent alone. Not to say Tyreek Hill is not talented. I mean, the guy is fast as hell, elusive, like he can shake you out of your boots.
Crazy.
But we'll see.
Bring it home, Splash.
I'm
on the Tyreek Hill bus here too.
All right, folks. So when you talk about Tyreek Hill and you talk about what he does everything. And I want to focus on one thing. So you look at his route running, he might not be as good as Allen, but he's a good route runner, and physicality, he's only 5'10", but how many times do you see him jumping 6 feet up in the air for a ball 40 yards downfield? A lot. He has an entire highlight reel, granted it's highlights, but he has an entire highlight reel of catches that Allen Robinson should be making and Kenny Golladay should be making and Dorial Green-Beckham should have been making 10 years ago and Miles Boykin should be making for the Ravens. Tyreek Hill is 5'10", and he's making those plays. But as far as I'm concerned, there are 3 undeniable truths in the NFL right now. 1, Darren Waller is tight end 3. He's not 2, He's not 4, he's tight end 3.
I agree.
Raiders fans will agree. Ravens, Lions, Dolphins, whoever behind, they will agree. And he's not over Kittle or Kelsey. 2, Aaron Donald is the best pass rushing interior guy. You can argue Watt maybe is a better defensive line guy, but Donald is clearly the best. Then Tyreek Hill is the best deep threat in the NFL. It's not close. You make a poll, it's 90% Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you throw out Chiefs fans, he's 90%. So you're talking about game breaking, like I mentioned earlier. When I look at Patrick Mahomes, and I look at Travis Kelce, and I look at Andy Reid, you see Hall of Famers. I do too. What part of their games elevates the Chiefs, right? Tyreek Hill's part of that game breaking ability elevates it more than Mahomes does and more than Kelce does and more than Reid's play calling does. And I would not be out of bounds to me if I threw Tyreek Hill in a Mount Rushmore of game breakers. Moss, Rice, Hill. I'm totally cool with that. Then you can throw in Barry Sanders if you want. You can throw in Owens, Deshaun Jackson. Pick your guy. But Tyreek Hill is the Chiefs offense to me. He is better at what he does than Mahomes is at quarterback. He is better at what he does than Travis Kelce is at tight end. He is better at what he does than Andy Reid as a play caller. And Tyreek Hill breaks games. He's a good route runner. Mm-hmm. He has spotty hands, sure. He is very physical, but he is without a doubt the most dominant deep threat I've seen for any length of time. Now, granted, I was not around for Randy Moss's heyday with Minnesota. That's a different conversation. I get it. But with what Tyreek Hill does in terms of speed, in terms of agility, in terms of separation in his routes, yeah, Adams might get open more often, but every time Tyreek Hill is open, it's 15 yards, it's 20 yards, it's 25 yards. When I go back through Mahomes games, right? As far as I'm concerned, his single best game was against the Bills in the AFC title game. Now, he doesn't have the gaudy passing numbers. I get it. But that was as clinical as he's ever been. And I would like to ask, who broke that game open? Who turned a 10-yard pass on 3rd and 3 into 70 yards? Tyreek Hill did. He ran right through a Buffalo Bills secondary that all of us think is pretty good. Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer.
He's very good.
You're talking.
So let me ask you a question here.
Tyreek Hill showed up. Yep.
I'm going to jump in 1 second. I think Tyreek Hill is closer to his 2017 season numbers than he is his 2018 season or last year. I think he's closer to that type of receiver. Now, I do agree with you. I think he's incredible. I think he's unique. I think for that system, he works perfectly. But if you're starting a team today, you have to pick one wide receiver. You have to pick for, let's say, a 2-year stretch, because you can always play the age game. Mm-hmm. DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams are going before Tyreek Hill. I think, honestly, you're going to think I'm nuts. If I'm starting a team today, I'm taking DK Metcalf over Tyreek Hill. I think Metcalf's bigger. He's a better red zone. I think Metcalf is Hill's more in the Metcalf kind of category than he is like in that upper echelon tier. He hasn't caught 90 balls in a season, Splash. He's not a red zone kind of guy. If you put DK, did you guys see DK?
I think you're body shaming Tyreek because he's little.
You have to. It's part of the game.
I don't think you do. He's proven that you don't have to.
Why is he mossing guys 60 yards downfield?
He's mossing shitty corners, man. He's not mossing the best. Come on. Goodness. You can always moss these days. Corners can't even touch you.
You're 60 yards downfield. He's 5'10". Are you kidding me? That's the play
right.
Allen Robinson should make. That's
Hold
the
on.
play Galladay should make. Tyreek Hill is making those plays.
DK Metcalf had 1,300 yards last year, and he had 83 catches.
Correct.
DK Metcalf is a beast, is a monster. 6'4", 6'5".
Mhm.
He
I'm
runs
denying that.
a 4.35.
Yep.
What's the big real difference there? If you put DK Metcalf with Patrick Mahomes, you think he's not jacking up that 1,300-yard season into a 1,450 and 15 touchdown season? And by the way, that was his second year last year. Second year.
I mean, I think that's fair, but I also think that Tyreek Hill is a plus route runner. Like if you're percentile, he's 85th percentile route runner, 90th percentile route runner. Again, he's not Adams, he's not Allen, he's not really. I'm not trying to say he is, but he runs significantly better routes than what Metcalf does. And Metcalf is in the perfect situation for him. Seattle is one of the few teams that they see what Metcalf does well. A lot of people that don't like Metcalf, understandably so, see, he runs terrible routes, he has bad hands. I get that. I don't really care that he can't run good routes. Julio Jones is not a great route runner. Calvin Johnson is not a great route runner. And remember, they're 1 and 2 on that all-time yards per game list. And you know what? If you're Seattle, you're going to use Metcalf for what he does best. Same thing they do with Jamal Adams. Oh, he can't cover? Okay, he's going to have 9.5 sacks. Cool. Metcalf can't run routes? Okay, cool. He's just going to run 9 routes all game long. And he's going to murder your corners unless they're named Jalen Ramsey. Shout out to Jack. So I think I think DK, I love DK. Like a larger point, we are going to argue about the top 10, but if you're like ranking receivers, what difference is, say, Calvin Ridley and DK Metcalf? I don't think there's much difference. They do fundamentally different things. Ridley is an incredible route runner. Metcalf is an incredible physical specimen. I would argue that outside of the top 5, maybe 6, 7 through 18 is interchangeable. You throw in Evans, you throw in Godwin, you throw in the LA guys, the Rams guys. You throw in Jefferson, of course, he's phenomenal, but only it's the one season. You throw in Godwin, Evans, AB, even Antonio Brown is a baller. And then you throw in, at a certain point, you can have a lot of receivers that can be very good in the NFL. Like Deontay Johnson's a guy that I think elevates himself into that level this year. There are a lot of really good wide receivers, and saying that, I don't know, Kenny Golladay isn't top 10. I don't think that's a knock against Golladay. That's just how deep the wide receivers are. 10 years ago, Kenny Golladay is a top 5 wide receiver, Frank, probably.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
It still might be.
Yeah, 20 years ago, Stephon Diggs is running away with every receiver award known to man. He's in that, and it's awesome to me that there are 25 guys that could be top 10 receivers. Like you go down to Tampa and you ask, hey, who's a top 10 receiver? They can legitimately say they have 3 on the same team. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I happen to disagree with the guys, but DJ Moore, you could argue he's a top 10 guy. Adam Thielen, you could argue he's a top 10 guy.
I don't agree with that one. I will say,
argue the productivity is there.
I will say, though, I agreed with Splash's Tyreek Hill take a lot more than I thought I was going to. I don't agree that he's the best receiver in the league right now. I wouldn't rank him number 1 overall right now. I still think DeAndre Hopkins has light years away talent-wise. What was that insane stat he went without a drop for however long, and it's he has magnets for hands. It's incredible to me. And I think him and Kyler Murray are going to be good. I think we saw just the one season of them together. I mean, while it wasn't either of their bests, it was promising. And I think this year, like I said, when we did the rankings of the teams a couple weeks ago, the Arizona Cardinals are one of my teams to watch this year. Because I think they're going to be better than people kind of expect them to be. So I just can't put Tyreek number 1. I know the talent's there, and I agree with what Splash said about him being better at his position than Mahomes is at his and Kelsey is at his. I completely agree with that, 100%. I don't think it's enough to put him number 1 right now.
Yeah, and I agree. And to wrap up quickly, even before we kind of get into the next topic, is Tyreek Hill, now is playing to where the sport is going with these insanely fast, twitchy guys where you get these guys in space with the ball and they can turn a 6-yard out into an 80-yard touchdown run. Where Devontae Adams might not do that, where DeAndre Hopkins might not do that, Tyreek Hill can do that. And to what Splash said, who sounded like a very battered Ravens fan because he's probably seen it one too many times, is Tyreek Hill. Like I mentioned before, you're up 10 on the Chiefs. LOL, I hate you. You're up 10 on the Chiefs. You blink, and Tyreek Hill's hitting his head on the goalpost, and it's a totally new game. And all of your energy is sucked out, and the Chiefs just come back and beat you by 17. So that offense is really built around what Tyreek Hill does best, and what Mahomes does the best, and what Andy Reid has done the best in time. Obviously, there's no coincidence that Deshaun Jackson was great in Philadelphia. They want to get these guys who are really fast, really twitchy, get them the ball in space, and they score in one play. So I agree with what a lot of Splash had. I still lean towards Adams because he does. I definitely body shame Tyreek Hill because, you look at Adams and Hopkins and you look at Hill, you just trust a guy who's built a little bit bigger and better. And I think Frank's had that obsession with DK Metcalf's shirtless pictures for way too long. I think he's got a shirtless fathead pic in his room. So
oh my
I
God.
have the poster with him and AJ Brown. I try to
and Pete Carroll, right, with his shirt on.
I pose next to it every morning. I'm like,
the DK Metcalf love from Frankie kind of threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting that.
I'm going who we forgot?
I'm gonna Photoshop a picture of me on there, Brian. I'm gonna tweet it to you and see.
Please don't. I don't
Friends
think
of the show, Frank said. You're not showing my boy Amari Cooper any love.
I don't think Amari would be top 10 right now.
When he's healthy and Dak is healthy.
Amari Cooper's nice player. He's
very
really good.
Not top 10 right now. Top
Shout
15,
out to Jimmy who texted me that, Frank.
Top 15, I'll give him. Top 10,
yeah.
Not yet.
I'll take him over Julio, but anyway.
Crazy. All right, we're moving on because I can't listen.
Jamison Crowder, give him some love. Give him some love.
He needs some love right now.
Julio slander anymore. All right. What do we want to do here? Because we have two kind of.
I want to talk about anti-vaxxers. I've been dying to talk about it.
So you want to talk about me?
Are you an anti-vaxxer?
Might be.
Oh my God.
No.
The
we'll
NFL.
find out.
I was asked that.
I'm gonna let everyone know at the end of the show whether or not I'm an anti-vax. You have to tune in at the end. I will give a clear answer.
Lord.
I will. We have our politics segment to close out the shows now.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I'm an everybody stop fucking worrying about everybody else.
Yes.
That's what I am.
All right. So the NFL came out with new COVID protocols for the vaxxed and the unvaxxed. Essentially,
that's where we're going by now.
Yeah.
That's what we're labeled.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
Forget about race. Forget about religion. Forget about that.
Yep.
Are you vaccinated
or unvaccinated? So the way, without actually reading it and kind of boring you with all the details, the way it's laid out is either you're vaccinated and you can go back to normal life, do whatever you want to do. You can go out to eat on the road. You can use the weight room, full capacity, all this, whatever. And then on the other hand, if you're not vaccinated yet, you have to get tested every single day. You can't do anything with normalcy involved, basically. So you're doing last year all over again just because you won't get 2 shots in your arm, which it's everybody's prerogative. I got mine. I've been fully vaccinated for over a month now. I'm going on vacation tomorrow because I'm fully vaccinated. Like,
That's why you got the spray tan. Now
go to Miami,
sense.
baby.
Oh
Miami.
my.
Miami in the morning. I'm so excited.
Bree, you take more vacations than Dwayne Wade. I don't know. You're always doing something down there.
I'm always somewhere, moving and shaking. That's all.
It's funny. I got a text from an NFL agent, unprovoked. I didn't text him or anything, and he saw our Instagram post when we put up the protocols, and basically he said the NFL is trying to push players to get vaxxed so they don't have to do this protocol shit every week. That's basically the thought around football. They just want to basically peer pressure the players into getting vaxxed so that they don't have to do this daily COVID test for all these players. Basically all of the coaches and assistants are all vaccinated. They just don't want to deal with this.
No, that's not why. There's 2 reasons. There's 2 reasons the NFL is doing these vaccine protocols. One, the NFL historically has been a very conservative league. They took a lot of crap for the Kaepernick stuff. They were looked at as a very right-wing leaning kind of organization. They've been doing whatever they can to get ahead of that and make it seem like they're this more left kind of league now that they've changed. That's why when you see them with, even with certain events and months for things, they're always up front. They're making statements now. The NFL used to never do that. That's one. They want to change their image. Two, it's a multi-billion-dollar company. They don't want to have to deal with another COVID outbreak for money. So it's image and money. It has nothing to do. They don't care about testing every day. They don't care about the safety of players. They care about their image and money. That's all it is.
Well, they're spending a ton of money to test these guys every day.
It's peanuts.
Peanuts. I love it.
Yeah, peanut money. I'm telling you right now, the NFL has taken so much crap over the Kaepernick stuff. They're trying to get ahead of the game on that. I'm telling you, they're trying to be. It's impossible to be unvaccinated. I mean, Cole Beasley just went off today about it, but you cannot be an unvaccinated NFL player. How are you going to have a meeting when you have to be sitting socially distanced and you can only fit 15 in a room? What, you're going to be unvaccinated and everyone else is going to be vaccinated? I mean, it's insane. The rules are nuts. They're forcing people to get vaccinated, which honestly I have a problem with because we don't know the long-term side effects yet. We don't know the long-term side effects. You can't force someone to get vaccinated. How do you know if in 5 years stuff happens? You let people make their choice on that.
What I have a problem with is,
that's
is
the you don't know.
Like,
you don't know.
No, I agree with you, Frank. What I have a problem with is now the media, every time a player comes up to do their, league mandated interviews after practice, they're asking guys, did you get the vaccine? That's none of your business. Like, they don't need to tell you that. And then if a player goes and says that, they're automatically labeled, oh, he didn't get it because he didn't admit to it. Well, maybe he just doesn't want you to know what he did with his health or his body or whatever. Like, what happened to these HIPAA laws or what happened to your own right to do whatever you want to do? No one deserves to know what Zach Wilson, if he got the vaccine or not. And I see a big, to-do about it in the Jets media is, why should Zach Wilson have to answer that? Isn't that it's a private conversation between, it's his choice to get the vaccine or not. And now everybody has to face that awkward situation of having that question asked to you. It's ridiculous. And then you get labeled something that you don't even know what this guy thinks about a vaccine or not. He just doesn't feel the need to have to tell Rich Cimini if he got vaccinated or not.
It just, of all people, to be a very, very loud anti-vaxxer, Cole Beasley doesn't surprise me for some reason.
Why?
There's a difference between an anti-vaxxer though, Bree, and someone who is a little bit more hesitant towards getting the COVID-19 shot. I don't think it's a little different. This isn't hesitance though. This is full on, I'm not getting it. And it's not, I'm not 100% sure. This is.
But that's all right if he doesn't want to get it.
And that's fine. I said,
I don't think it's a big deal.
It's your prerogative. Just be prepared to be miserable when you have to go through the testing and stuff every day like you had to do last year. I can't imagine that was an enjoyable experience for any of these guys. And what Splash kind of alluded to in the private chat, with the way the season went last year, and we had all of these games get rescheduled because all of these teams had COVID outbreaks. I mean, the Patriots went into Kansas City with Brian freaking Hoyer at quarterback for a half because Cam Newton got COVID, and then they had their own mini outbreak. It happened to the vast majority of the teams in the league last year, regardless of what protocols they were taking. They could have been walking around like Bubble Boy for all I care, and something still would have happened. The vaccines, and I am saying this as a vaccinated person, so I feel like I am okay to talk about this. The science right now works. I was able to go see my grandparents because I'm vaccinated and not have to worry about, oh shit, am I going to get them sick? Because the chances of me getting COVID right now are still there, but they are so incredibly slim in comparison. So if it's going to make your work life easier, if it's going to make your personal life easier, if it's going to make the life of your employers easier and those around you, just do it. And then if you don't want to get the booster, don't get the booster. It's fine. I don't know. The only thing that this is something that I probably shouldn't say, but you know what? I'm going to say it because I'm me. And if you don't like it, I'm very sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
The people pulling the strings at the top, which we've seen in many instances in politics, are just sketchy people. They say politics are grimy. politics are dirty. Dirty politics is like a common thing. The people pulling the strings at the top, I don't trust. I don't trust them. So when you're pushing something this much on me, that 1% doubt, let me. I had COVID, so I had it in February. I have antibodies, and I'm not saying whether I'm vaccinated or not. I won't say.
I'm not.
But I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Both my parents are vaccinated, for example. Something just smells fishy about this whole COVID situation. And that 1% doubt to put something in my body that could have long-term effects. Why do I, if I have antibodies already from having COVID, why am I going to listen to these people at the top? I don't know. It's just, it's risky. No, I mean, even that 1% risk, you have one body the rest of your life. Something happens.
It's a fair
I don't
point.
know.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, it's completely fair. Like and this is completely way off topic of kind of what we're talking about in sports.
Steve French, footballs and politics shouldn't mix.
It's
Too
true.
bad. That's not how it is anymore.
But like, being a woman, for example, I was nervous to get it because I heard all of these rumors about reproductive health and things like that, and what it could possibly do. It can make me infertile. I want to have kids. So, I mean, like I said, I got my shots. I don't know what's going to happen. But at this point, if it's going to make my life normal right now, I think that's more worth it to me right now than to live another year or two wearing these godforsaken masks, being miserable, not being able to hug my friends, not being able to hug my family. So, I mean, I can always adopt, I guess, is what I'm saying. Whatever happens, happens. You know?
Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately what it boils down to, where my only frustration lies with this is the media and others feeling that they have the right to intrude on someone's decision, and everybody else just feeling like if someone doesn't want to get the vaccine, it doesn't make them a bad person. And if someone does get the vaccine, it doesn't make them like a pansy or whatever. Like, who cares what other people do? Just make the decision for
100%.
yourself and live with it. I don't know why everybody all of a sudden feels the need to get involved with what everybody else is thinking and doing. Like, just live and let other people live. And that's my, like, if there's one, it's not a religious statement. It's not a political statement. It's literally just like how I lead my life. Do what the hell you want. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me. Get the vaccine if you want. Don't get it. I'm not going to think any less or more of you. So,
and that's
like, you're not on a higher moral standard if you do get the vaccine, and you're not like a slum or a piece of garbage if you don't. So that's like, I mean, I know it's a very like not taking a side here, which I feel like everybody now thinks they have to do is take a side. You don't always have to. Like, you can play that middle ground and just be willing to kind of seesaw and see what everybody else is thinking.
And back to your point about the media, like, we need to, if people, whether they are vaxxed or not, if they don't want to tell you as athletes, there's no reason to make it out like, oh, well, he didn't give me a straight answer, so that
the NFL should outlaw that question.
There's no reason for that. If
you ask that question, you're out.
If that question's actually
could be illegal. It's illegal. It is illegal. I mean, I don't know, because who knows the laws anymore? We're like creating them as we go here with this COVID thing, because your rights are getting taken away left and right here. So I don't know technically if it is legal, but basically anything I've ever learned about in the past with your health and your decisions, and look what Adam Schefter went through with the JPP situation. I know it's a different story here, but he got his hands on the hospital chart from when JPP blew his hand up with the fireworks, and he got sued for it, so, and ESPN got sued for releasing it. So what difference there is it? I mean, I know you're showing his freak situation with his health chart, but why is that any different than Rich Cimini asking Zach Wilson and basically battering him about not getting vaccinated or if he did, and Wilson not wanting to answer? How is that any different? I think if you ask that question, you should be kicked out.
I agree. If an athlete wants to come out and say, hey, I'm vaccinated,
all for it.
Go ahead.
Cool.
But there's no reason for you to sit there and ask and then kind of bullying them into giving you an answer that they don't want to give.
Yep.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting situation just to wrap this up because you're going to see players that aren't vaccinated or don't want to for a variety of reasons. And they're going to be shunned from certain like signings and like sponsorship opportunities. I mean, it seems to be stepping outside of the bounds of just the stadium. I was speaking with my friend Chris about this and he was bringing it up. He's like, is this even legal? Like you can do stuff in the facility because you own it, but opportunities outside of the facility, how does that kind of work? So that'll be kind of interesting. But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna get interesting, and there'll be, I'm sure there'll be at some point some lawsuits when stuff hits the fan.
I got a text from my buddy who's actually very involved with this direct situation. 100% HIPAA law. It is illegal if you do ask them about that. So, I mean, if I'm a player, I'm like, hey, don't ask me anymore. I'm not answering it. Or a team should come to the forefront and say, the New York Daily News, a post, ESPN, this question's off limit. We don't want that here. So don't ask any question about vaccines. If guys want to come and talk about, because all of these teams are doing training about the vaccine, they're educating the players, they're showing them, different statistics and science behind it. But don't ask the players if they've been vaccinated. If they want to talk about it.
I want to ask you guys one quick thing. Zach Wilson's a Mormon, right? So let's just, I don't know what the religion.
He's not a practicing Mormon, though.
But okay, but
he doesn't even identify. But go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, no, I'm saying let's say his parents are he was part of that community.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say they're against the vaccine. I have no idea. I'm just assuming.
Right.
What happens if he's unvaccinated? Like, is he going to have to be in a meeting room with what? Because you can only do 15 or something. And what if everyone else is? How does that kind of play out? It's interesting. How is unvaccinated people with vaccinated players? How is that going to work? I mean, does that make any sense? So I don't know.
They're still going to have to do the mask thing, but maybe they're doing what some.
Well, they get daily tested, right?
Right, but maybe they're going to do what some stadiums did and had like a vaccinated section and an unvaccinated section.
I mean, pretty soon we're going to have to treat this thing like, I'm not comparing it to the flu because it's a trigger for so many people when you say flu and COVID in the same sentence, but pretty soon you're going to have to treat it like the flu, where this thing is probably going to be around.
It's not going away
seasonally,
ever.
Right? But when you keep, like, the whole thought was keep the rates low enough so that we can get back to normal life, get to this 70% vaccinated, which I know New York just did. And then we just have to really move on with our lives and deal with this thing. The herd immunity was the word that we talked about pretty soon. And it's getting there, thankfully, and hopefully we continue it. But you're just going to have to go about your life, be a little more careful than you were in the past, wear a mask. I wear one in like Stop and Shop because I feel like that place is grimy, but I won't wear one in another place because I feel like we went and watched a soccer game at a buddy of ours restaurant yesterday at Lago down the street. I know the owners. I know the place is clean. We were sitting far apart. I didn't wear a mask in there, but I wore one in Stop and Shop because I think it's, like I said, it's grimy in there. So we're going to have to eventually get to a point where it's just like you're going to have to deal with this thing and, get a booster for those who were vaccinated. Maybe in a year you have to get a booster shot. So like the flu shot. So
yeah,
enough of this vax stuff. I guess we could do a whole show on it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. So, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be things that come up and within the next however many months that we're going to end up talking about. So we'll have more, I'm sure, to talk about when it comes to this.
Bri, I saw your vaccine card. I'm not buying it. It looks a little bit thin there. I think
you think it's a fake one?
Listen,
did you wear the sticker? Did you wear the sticker, Bri? Did you post a sticker on Instagram?
I put it on my forehead.
Did you really?
Yeah.
And you posted it?
On my story, yeah, because I didn't get a sticker when I voted. So, but I got one. I got one when I got my vaccine, and I was like, "This seems a little backwards that I got a sticker for this and not for the more important thing." But whatever.
The world we
live in. Instead of getting ashes on people's forehead now,
I got a vaccine sticker.
Yeah.
How did they do that on Ash Wednesday this year? Did they do it with like a stick? Did they not get close enough to do it?
I haven't gotten my ashes in years.
I know.
My poor grandma.
One time I faked it and I put like coal on my forehead just to pretend like I was.
Gotta use eyeliner and just smudge it in.
You got another text, Frank. I got somebody who can get you 3 Vax cards for $5.
Jeez.
That's a deal.
That's a deal. Done.
All right, can we move on from this?
All right, Madden.
Send that Venmo.
We're gonna get doxxed.
Oh my God, Madden 22.
Ew.
This is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Oh,
I like it.
They
think it's
teased
cool.
it.
oh my God.
They teased it with a goat and a baby goat, which you obviously, when you saw that, you knew it was going to be Brady and Mahomes, whether you agree that one or the other is a goat. You knew who it was going to be. It's the most obvious thing in the world. Patrick Mahomes, I need this GOAT conversation with Patrick Mahomes to stop. He's going into what year? Full year 4? 3, 4?
2 Super Bowl appearances already.
Okay. Brady had that too. And was he dubbed
Well, he's the GOAT. He is.
Was he called that back then? No.
We weren't using that term back then.
Oh, was he being
The
called?
GOAT wasn't the
was he
GOAT
being
conversation
called great?
born like 2 years ago?
I don't freaking know. It's been.
I think
banged
Mahomes,
into
if
my
there
head.
was ever to be a baby GOAT, I think it would be him. I think why are people like anti-Mahomes lately? Is because he lost the Super Bowl? I feel like he's been getting so much hate as I guess that's what happens though when like you build up a guy so much and you want to see him do so good until he reaches that pinnacle and then you want him to crash and burn, right? Is that like that's what our society does to guys?
I've always been anti-Mahomes, so if everybody else,
I love him.
wants
I think
to-
he's the best thing I've ever seen.
not me.
This cover's the worst thing I've ever seen.
It is. It's awful.
Is that the cover of the game though, or is that just kind of like an
full
ad?
cover. This cover just shows how that's their MVP edition cover. So they'll have, I guess, a standard edition one as well. That cover is so unoriginal. It just shows why Madden sucks so much right now. These are like unoriginal people. They're not creative. The game is awful. It's terrible. What kind of cover is this?
It looks like a wedding invitation.
Does it literally does.
It
and
really
I've seen
kind of like. Go, sorry, Frank. Good.
No, there's covers on Twitter that people have made with both of them. I've seen like 5 that are all better. I've seen like legit 5 that are light years better. EA Sports does not know what the hell they're doing anymore with Madden. It's the one team that just really sucks. That game is terrible. It is trash. I mean, like, we'll bring in Jack. He's a big Madden player, so we can get kind of his kind of two here. But Madden, this game is so bad that, not to get into the game too much, but when someone throws a pass, if you just go with your defender and just hold triangle or Y, whatever, like, and hold it long enough in motion, the game will like make you go and like get an interception or like tip the ball because you were like holding Y earlier. Like, the thought of physics in this game is just not there anymore. And clearly they just are the most unoriginal group of people you could possibly get in a room, because that's the worst cover in anything I've ever seen.
It encapsulates what EA has done for the past like 10 years is the most boring whatever we can do to just because we own the rights to the NFL's video games and we're just going to do whatever the hell we want because we know everybody's going to pay $60 for a roster update. And we all do it. We complain about it, but we all do it, right? As everybody goes and does it when it comes out in August. And they put like, oh, who can we get and put on the roster that all the young kids want to play with, and Patrick Mahomes, and who all like the old white guys love, and Tom Brady. So they're like, maybe we'll put them two together and we'll have like the coolest game ever. But I don't know if that's gonna work. But I kind of like the idea of the two of them on there. I could see that. Jack,
right.
What do you think? What's the vibe among the gamers out there?
The vibe among the gamers, first of all, this cover is complete garbage. I agree with you guys completely. But like you said, I think you kind of took away the point that I was going to bring up. But this is only the MVP edition cover, so this is not like the standard edition. We're going to see more like a different special edition and then just a standard version. And this is kind of the same thing that we got last year. So I fully agree with the whole unoriginality thing about it. Also, there's the whole, by 60 stadium points instead of Madden. Exactly. You said they don't care about physics. It's true. You know what EA cares about? Microtransactions. Nothing else. They only care about making money. That's it. They don't give a damn about anything else. It's ridiculous. And it sucks because they have the exclusive contract right now. There's no getting around that. Like, what was it? Like a 6-year deal that they signed or something?
It's crazy.
Ridiculous.
They need Tecmo back.
I know, right? We need to bring Tecmo back. There was like I think there was like a fan site.
NFL Street back.
Yeah, I agree.
It was like a fan site somebody made where they were like making fan versions of Tecmo with like updated
That's
rosters.
awesome.
That got shut down, I think, but we need to bring that back somehow.
By the NFL, right? I'm sure.
I would hope so. I don't think they're gonna, but I would hope so. I just think EA needs competition at the end of the day. That's only going to make them better. They hate to hear it, and they're going to hate to hear it, but that's all they need is competition. I also don't understand the choice of they don't care about difference, I guess is a good word in terms of their cover athletes, like Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. Tom Brady was on the cover of Madden 18. Patrick Mahomes was on the cover of Madden 20. And I mean, the thing is though, like they were probably the most talked about players last season, so that's probably why they're on the cover.
Yeah.
I think the fact that they played a Super Bowl against each other.
I mean, yeah,
is what did it.
Yeah,
well, it's the young guy and the old guy. I get it, and hopefully they pull like what the Chargers did a few years ago when they leaked that logo, and then we're like, oh, everybody hates it, so we're just kidding. And then they went and they made a better one. So hopefully EA pulls the same
better one. But you mean recycling their old one, by the way? But
it's a great logo.
What Madden should have done, I think, is they should have had a new deep passing edition game, and they should have featured on there DK Metcalf with his shirt off like this.
Here we go.
Call it the deep edition.
Oh
they could do so many fun things with the cover athletes, like
they could
engaging
do
and stuff.
I like when they had like that one year they had a bunch of different ones. I forget what year it was, but it was like one year they had like a bunch of different covers you can kind of get. And that year with Favre,
cool.
They had Favre on the Jets and Favre on Green
They should
Bay.
allow fans to cut like creators, like all those guys on Twitter.
The fan vote for cover athlete. They need to bring that back.
Yeah, that's cool. Or do something with the Pro Bowl. The MVP of the Pro Bowl gets to be on the next cover of Madden. And then do something with like designers. Allow them to create the cover of Madden for the next year. And that person gets like a scholarship or some shit.
Do a fan cover contest or something.
I think it should have been drunk David Andrews sitting on top of a duck boat chugging beers.
It should have been Quentin Nelson and Aaron Donald.
You guys are gonna love this. It should have been Cooper Kupp completely owning Jamal Adams on that deep pass in the playoffs.
I'm good with that. How cool would Quentin Nelson and Aaron Donald be? It would be like such out of left field and be like, that's pretty cool.
It would. I just don't want Aaron Donald to get the Madden curse is all.
Hey, it died down the last few years. I think it is
over.
I still kind of believe in it. I mean, the joke I like to make is that it hit Antonio Brown so hard that it took a year off when Mahomes was on the cover.
All right, Jack, before we let you go and move on, are you buying Madden this year?
Yeah. I'm going to buy it for cheap.
Frank, are you? All right, I respect
probably.
Are you, Frank? Brady,
I'll probably.
Last Madden I bought was 18 just because Brady was on the cover. But
last Madden I bought was Favre because he was on the cover on the Jets.
Wow.
I've had someone, Addy bought me 2 years ago, which I barely play. I just don't play Madden. I'm terrible at it. That was the last one I bought.
I have the Antonio Brown one too. When was that? 19?
19, yeah. I'm in that unfortunate situation where I'm better than everybody in my family, but I'm bad playing competitively. So
same.
Oh.
Before
Jack,
I
we're gonna
dip
you and I are
splashes.
gonna play.
All right, sure. Before I
plug
dip
the show,
splashes,
Jack.
telling me to plug our show tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. The Sports Desk. We'll probably talk more Madden. We'll talk NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, everything going on there. So cool.
Awesome. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Bye, Jack.
If Frank beats you in Madden,
Jack.
you got to come on the show wearing something of Frank's choice.
Oh, you don't want to know. There won't be anything of my choice. It'll be we're doing a shirtless show. Me and Nick Bree. We said it.
Yep.
Remember, Nick? One time we did a show, a Jets show. This is like almost 10 years ago, and we were on break. So it was like we were coming back from a commercial break. I was yelling across the room like, Nick, when we show up from break, just don't have a shirt on, like out of nowhere. Like I was trying to get him to do it within like this 30-second. I'm like, Nick, do it. I was like pulling his shirt up. And
I always think
back
to the old show we did. If those recycled, those resurfaced, we'd be off the air.
Yeah, flopping out, we'd be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
absolutely.
my god! All right, we have 2 topics left, but we only have time for one. Do we want to do MLB or NBA?
Maybe we could do it really fast. I think the pitchers and the MLB, the MLB as a league, and Pete Alonso touched on it where he said he thinks there's this whole conspiracy where they're trying to make the players look bad in the eye of the league because this whole impending labor deal that they have coming up next year where people are expecting a lockout that's to come because the two sides hate each other. I don't know if I would go that far, but I do think there is an issue with the cheating scandals and the sticky situation, and it's clear who is doing it. And it doesn't have to be like a whole witch trial to find it. And I don't think it's as huge of a deal as some people are making it out to be. And I think you can find a middle ground to where players can use a specific substance. They don't have to resort to this crazy spider tack that I know a few shows have done, like sample trials of putting it on. And when you pull it apart, it's like the craziest sticky solution that you can ever use. But then you have tweets coming out about like the Royals cheating in 2015, the Yankees cheating with Aaron Judge, and these stats. It's like you can go back for years and find, like, baseball is a sport where they've used these like different competitive edges forever. But it just seems like everybody wants to be on like a witch hunt to find the next team to cheat. It's like you're playing a sport where it's one pitcher against 9 hitters, and you got 7 gloves behind you. It's the same deal over and over again every year. These pitchers are going to try and get this competitive edge. They have all this film work that they can do, all these different studies with the spin rate. You're going to find scandals. So now it feels like every week there's something that's coming out, and we're trying to build up something. And I think where Alonso did make a little bit of sense is that everything now is being blown out of proportion because of this ongoing labor dispute. And you're just having like picking sides. So now, the Rays pitcher who got hurt blaming the league because they changed the substance or the rules now. Baseball players have become such babies, in my opinion. And then you have like all these like nerdy statisticians and all these like nerdy media guys who are trying to like play detective and uncover like these big secrets. It's like, can we just get back to when like steroids were legal and the game was really fun?
So 2 things. Ryan Spader, the guy who leaked all of those or sent out all those tweets about how all of these teams have cheated. Did you see him recant that today?
No, I didn't.
What did he say today?
He came back today. It got sent in one of my group messages. Let me pull it up and read it. I know this guy on like a semi-personal level. He's the biggest tool. So this is not surprising.
This guy Ryan is?
Ryan Spader. He calls himself the stat wizard. He goes,
that's what Splash calls himself.
He goes, I deeply regret everything I said. It has turned my life upside down. It was a mistake, and I should not have reported on unfounded allegations. I sincerely apologize to all of those impacted. It should not have happened, and it will not happen again. Stick to stats.
That's what happens when you empower these like statistician dorks. And they go out and they feel like they're the cool guy in school again, or for the first time, where they were like the dweeby, nerdy math guys, and now they're empowered because baseball has gone so analytical that you empower someone like him, and he does that.
And I think potentially my favorite part about this is the first tweet in the original thread that has now been deleted was at 11 or 1 o'clock in the morning, the day before all of it came out. And he said, I'm really angry. I might let all of this out, but I need to sleep on it. And then the next morning at like 11 a.m., he starts going off. Like, you had to sleep on that? Really?
Yeah.
You freaking dork. My God. What a loser.
I'm just tired of hearing about these scandals in baseball. Like,
baseball
it's an interesting year. Yeah, I know. And that's why what Alonso said did make a little bit of sense, was that you're in an ugly dispute between the two sides that really cannot see eye to eye on anything. So you're just going to get a mass amount of like garbage that comes out.
They need to Major League Baseball needs to worry about paying their minor league players before they worry about who the hell has what.
I think they're trying. So
stuff. Well, did you see what's happening with the Orioles farm team?
I heard a little bit about like what's the elevator.
They're not having a stipend for housing anymore. So a lot of players came out and said that they are prepared to sleep in their cars in the facility parking lot because
if you needed another reason to not want to be a Baltimore Oriole.
They only get paid, I think it said $600 a week, and that's not enough for housing for minor league baseball players for the team hotel. So pay minor leaguers if you want them to be the future of your league, that you're then going to run around and do all these random cheating things. Like it's sunscreen. If the guys are using the spider tack stuff, sure, suspend them.
Yep.
If they're using the sunscreen stuff just for better grip,
most hitters want that. Yeah, because they don't want to get drilled like Kevin Pillar did. They'd rather these guys have better control of these pitches, and they'll deal with learning
Well,
how
who
to
was
hit
the
this
pitcher?
crazy spin rate.
Who was the
He's so
pitcher that said
stupid.
that blamed his injury on not being able to use these substances anymore
Tyler-
because
Tyler
Glasnow.
Glasnow, but
Tyler Glasnow,
he uses sunscreen and rosin. So
Yeah.
it's not like he's using
Which
the
was
spider
legal.
tack stuff to make his stuff more nasty, because that's what the spider tack stuff does. He uses it for grip.
man, baseball. I've never seen a sport like it where it's
Blow up
just,
from the inside out.
No, but it's been riddled with scandals and cheating for so long. I mean, it is a sport where literally, if you can hit a few extra, if you can make a few extra hits a week, that'll be the difference between you playing in the majors and not. So I get that. But like, wow, that league is just, it's one thing after the other. It's getting quite annoying. I mean, this whole scandal to me is just, it's so overblown. It's like, it's just, I don't know. And people are like, oh, Garrett Cole's not going to be good anymore. Okay, man. And then the next night, he just, two nights later, he just completely torched, Donaldson and co. So I don't buy into all that crap. And this guy, I'm surprised they speak so freely. Some of these people.
They're empowered now, man.
Are there potential lawsuits? I mean, if you're coming out
Definitely
saying Aaron Judge has been cheating, I mean, Aaron Judge is up for a big contract. Can Aaron Judge's camp come out and have a lawsuit on their hands?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, I mean, they honestly should if it's definitely
there is something there.
Unless it is true, unless something like that is true,
Right.
then Judge's camp's not going to come out with a lawsuit and kind of let it sweep under the rug. We'll see.
We'll see. All right, real quick.
It's annoying at this point.
We're not even going to
Sorry,
sit and discuss this. We're just going to give an answer. Who is your favorite to win the NBA Finals right now? Just one word answer. Say the team name. That's it.
It's one team, best player in the NBA right now, best scorer that we've seen in the last 20 years. The Brooklyn Nets. KD
Suns.
is unreal.
Suns. I agree.
Splash Clippers.
They feel like it.
Nah, bro. They had a good night last night, though. I had a feeling they were actually going to win last night, but that's every time I have a feeling.
Going to finish them off tonight.
No. It'll go game 7, but KD will take over in game 7. KD's going to be tired tonight. He played a lot of minutes. He played every minute.
Every minute,
Full
right?
game.
Yeah,
the Bucks are such frauds, though. They're just like, you look at that team and they're just frauds.
Giannis
Like
can't be a
they're
number
not
one.
gonna.
Speaking of
Looking
frauds,
at it.
I was in an Instagram DM chat last night. One of our friends posted, John goes, oh, the Sixers were blowing it out last night. They were blowing out the
Speaking
Hawks.
of frauds, oh my God.
He messaged
That
me.
was
He
great.
goes, do you guys think the Sixers have a legitimate shot to win the finals? I go, they don't.
Absolutely not.
They don't have a good wing scorer. I mean, Seth Curry's not going to do that every night, score whatever. He dropped 36 last night. So, and then after that, they just imploded. And I was like, that's their issue. If Embiid's a little off and Ben Simmons was garbage last night, the Sixers are going to move on from Ben Simmons, by the way.
They got to break that team up.
They got to blow it all up.
Yeah, they got to keep Embiid. You can keep Seth, but you have to get another wing player. Tobias Harris is always either in it or out of it. He doesn't seem to be consistent. So that team has enough where you can be, you could be a 1 seed or be in the, a top 4 seed in the East for maybe the next, 3 to 5 years. But it's never enough. We've seen teams like the Atlanta Hawks, from a few years ago with Horford, they're always in the top 4, but they're never going to get to that next level. So the Sixers, this is their last year to really, I think.
I have one question for Frank, because I know
finals.
he's the NBA guy here. When can I, or if I can, start dreaming about Luka to New York?
Never.
Really?
No, I mean, listen, I think the Knicks have a better shot at getting someone with, more years underneath their belt. You're not going to get a guy like Luka, Nick. That guy is just, he's too good. He'll never leave Dallas, man. He'll never leave.
LeBron left everywhere he went.
Yeah, but LeBron stayed in Cleveland for his first, 7 years. So Luka's going to have to at least
4
play.
years?
At least.
I guess
he's that good.
The question is, when's he a free agent?
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I think he has 3 years left on his deal. So, but yeah, Nick, he's not.
That would re-energize me to
Are you talking about Mark Cuban's the owner too? Mark Cuban's going to give him every single opportunity, monetary opportunity to stay in Dallas, and the amount of jersey sales he's getting internationally because of Luka. I mean, That guy will
Splash
never
said
leave.
Dirk never left.
I have
Yeah.
2 Philly takes, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Brie, what do you think of
Harris-
Philly
we can
fans?
agree on ripping.
Tobias
What do you think of
Harris.
Philly fans? Yeah.
Philly fans are they're worse than us, and we suck. So
I like him.
Tobias Harris is better
So
than
funny.
Ben Simmons.
Tobias
As a
And
Harris.
value
I don't
player,
know,
as
no.
like value on a team, you're saying like
as just basketball, Tobias Harris can actually put the ball in the basket. What does
fair.
Ben Simmons do?
How
Play
can Ben
defense?
Simmons not be able to shoot?
That's
you're-
literally
it's funny,
your
he
job.
doesn't want
You're
to
playing
shoot.
basketball, bro. Like that's like a quarterback not being able to throw. How can you not shoot and score? Like, haven't you been doing that since you were like 3 years old? Like I have Luca's little basketball net here, and he knows how to put the ball in the basket.
He has like
And
the
he's
yips
16
or
months.
something, I'm convinced.
He's
Maybe
a
he needs
little
a
bit
year off
weird
or something.
guy.
I don't know.
He's a
And
little bit
then,
strange.
Instagram.
and then my second take about the Sixers before we close the show is they are the most overrated good basketball team in probably the last 10 years. And
That's a hot take right there.
Those are my
Splash. We need Splash to fact check that.
I guess
Well, let
they
us
love
splash.
garbage,
What do you
overrated
think of-
losers like Bryce Harper in Philly.
2015 Hawks. All right, I
Bring
will.
up the hot take-o-meter.
I'm going to give a little bit of a hot take. The Phoenix Suns are going to sweep the next team they play in the Western Conference Finals, and then are going to get swept in the finals. Bang, bang. That's my hot take.
The
They're
Nets
going to
have
sweep
to-
their next
the
team.
Nets have
to
They're going to
take
win 8
care
in
of
a
the
row,
Bucks
and then they're going to get
first.
swept in the finals. That's
I
my hot take.
disagree.
Frank is what the hell is his name? That weirdo on the Nets. My God, I'm forgetting his name. You hate him, Bree.
Kyrie?
Oh my God, Kyrie. Yes, is he
That
playing?
weirdo on the Nets.
Is he playing? Like,
I do hate him.
anytime soon?
No, I believe he was ruled out again.
He got unlucky
Is
because
he
he stepped
coming
on
back
Mr.
this
Lucky.
year?
You know?
Oh, I don't know. You stomp
Oh, I
on
saw
Lucky.
Big Baby
You
said that.
stomp on Lucky. You hurt your ankle. That's
I
it.
saw that splash. Splash at Harden's back. I saw that, but he was awful the other night. Might as well have not been out there, but
Bree's a big Glenn
Um,
Davis fan. That was
I
her
used to be.
man
I
for
like-
a while.
I like
Yeah.
Glenn
when I was
Davis.
a kid, I
he's a
loved him.
tank.
He comes out against Kyrie.
He can eat
every
too,
day.
baby. He's a
He
beast.
hates Kyrie.
His rookie
Oh, yeah,
year.
Is Kyrie
oh
coming
my
back
God.
this playoffs though? If they go to the Eastern Conference, is he back?
I think
I
it's
don't
still
know.
up in the air. They kind of keep this stuff in the wraps, like with Kawhi now too. They're going to do some more digging and get a few different MRIs, I think, before they disclose stuff. But I don't know. No one really
Oh, the
knows.
deer
Yeah,
antler spray, right?
Kawhi might be an ACL. Kyrie is it a high ankle sprain, or is it a low one that's a few weeks? But Kyrie, I don't think will finish this series. I mean, obviously if it goes
Yeah.
if it's tonight and in two nights, so we'll see.
If they advance, I have more faith in Kyrie playing again than Kawhi. I think Kawhi is done.
I agree with that.
Done.
Yeah.
Durant
So-
is ridiculous. That's my last take. Like, not much of a hot take, but like, my God, that guy.
He's
And
the
like
best
his
player in the
frame
league.
is crazy. Like how skinny his legs are, and he can just like
He's
what he
unguardable, man.
does.
You can't
Yeah.
guard him.
that
It's
three he had
impossible.
late in the game. I think there was like 3 minutes left where like I don't know who guarded, maybe PJ Tucker, but like picture perfect textbook defense, and he puts up this like long three and just like rattles it in, and you're just like you knew they were gonna win
Like,
from then on.
he just went straight up like
Yeah,
high.
how do you
he's
guard
just-
that dude? He's so long and like, but so like you think of a guy who's as long as him, and this is like crazy NBA take from me, but you feel like a guy who's that long and that like, I don't know, it's so skinny, but like his mechanics are so good. Like you would feel like he'd be like just all over the place and shit, but he's so clean. Like his shot is so clean. He's crazy to watch. He's like one of the like most interesting superstars like to play.
Yeah.
Just the way he plays.
His handles too, man. He's got them handles
Yeah.
and he's got long arms. It's
How is
hard
that
to-
possible?
it's
Yeah,
hard-
usually
what's
you
good handles
compact
too?
guys.
Embiid has good handles as well. You see
Yeah.
Joel play. Joel can go. Joel has a little bit of a bag in his back pocket that he could kind of whip out every once in a while. So yeah, Giannis has no bag. Splash just said Giannis, his bag is just like going back and forth and then just going right. That's all he does.
All right, so you're telling me
Giannis
we
needs a
need-
1A to his 1B. I'm telling you.
Yeah, he probably
Probably.
does.
He needs somebody
So-
like Jason Tatum, in my
He's pretty good.
humble opinion.
So you're telling me, Frank, the only way the Knicks can get Luka is if there's a scandal with Mark Cuban and he's gone.
Exactly. That's it. That's
I'm
the
on
only
it.
way. Cuban
I'm
will not
on
make
it,
that
he
happen.
says.
I'm about to catfish this dude. We need Luca in New York. We have
All
to.
right. On that note, we're done
Yeah.
here. We're catfishing
I'm
billionaires.
gonna need your help, Bree.
We're done here. All right, everybody. We will see you next week. Same time, same place, same.
It's all about you. Get on that app, baby. Get on it.
That's it.
Same shenanigans. Bye.
Hit me up on Venmo if you want any. I got you on the low end here.